What's up, guys, and welcome back. Literally, welcome back to the Pay to Glory series. It has been a while, and I apologize. Kind of par for the course in terms of my YouTube channel. We kind of come in and out. But I want to, first of all, thank you guys for even watching this video. I don't know what motivated me to make a video today. I just decided, you know what, like maybe it's time to just make something. A lot's been going on with FIFA. A lot's been going on in my personal life, as you can tell by the backdrop here. I'll just quickly acknowledge that a lot's changed in my personal life, but I haven't really even been able to play that much FIFA over the last like 5 or 6 months. I've been keeping up with the content. I was staying with my family for a little bit during like COVID and everything, and I wasn't able to play at their house. I was able to do the content in terms of like going on the web app or using my phone or whatever, but I just didn't have a setup, didn't really have any network or anything like that that I could, properly play. I ended up trying to kind of do a little bit of a makeshift setup at their house, but their connection was not meant for streaming. Definitely, it was not meant for playing online games because I ended up getting so much speed up lag that it was just absolutely unplayable. I got completely annihilated. There was an objective that I was trying to do for a Messi, and it ended up being a total nightmare. I think I ended up losing every single game, about 5 or 6-1, 5 or 6-0, just because my team would start playing and then it would just freeze, and then it would speed up lag, and next thing you know, the guy was in on a breakaway, and I was just conceding goals, and I'm like, well, can't be doing much about this. So I decided to just take a bit of a break with it. And now that I'm kind of a little bit more settled, I decided to kind of get back into it. So I actually played Weekend League, which we will get to in a little bit. There's no Weekend League in here. I didn't record it, and I'm glad I didn't because it was maybe one of the worst experiences of my entire life, which we can get to in a little bit. I'll speak to that. But what you guys are actually going to see in this video here is me doing, first of all, the 85 plus player pick for La Liga. And then we just go into a division rivals game. You guys will see the team where we're at with that, because it has been about 6 months since you guys have seen anything to do with FIFA from my channel. And then we will just finish it off by doing a bit of a team review. So the first part is it's team of the season. So I did want to go and play a little weekend league. Just, I don't want to say test myself because I hate weekend league for lack of a better term. But I just decided, you know what, we're playing a bit of this. Maybe I'll get lucky and who knows, give myself a chance to pack Messi. I did not use, you guys are probably going to see a team of the season Messi if you didn't already in there. We were able to go out and buy one. I wasn't able to use it really for that much of this weekend league. The Friday and Saturday I ended up playing with... I had Prime Puskas. He was the guy that I saved up for. I saved a whole bunch of coins and ended up saving to get him a couple months ago and finally started using him. And what I can say is that card is absolutely phenomenal. We sold him a couple days ago in order to fund our team of the season Messi. This is our paid to glory account, but I haven't put really any money into the game at all in the last couple of months, or if not really almost at all since the start of the year. With that being said, I did put 12,000 FIFA points on during one of the lightning rounds just because I decided I don't want to say reward myself, but I was just like, you know what? I've just been stuck indoors because of COVID. Maybe I'll just kind of succumb to the pressure, and we ended up packing team of the season Suarez, so I ended up using that. And that plus Puskas plus I had a team of the tournament Messi, who just has not aged overly well, which we'll get to in a second. Between all of those, I was very close to a team of the season Messi. And I was like, you know what? Team of the tournament Messi, I don't want you anymore. Puskas, even though I'd love to keep you, you're most of my coins. And this Suarez, between the three of you guys, this will get us to where we want to be, and I need that highest version of Messi, especially when I saw that he was a striker, a central card. I was like, I got to get this guy. I have to get him into my team. He's such a focal point of every one of my endgame teams. I won't be able to sleep until I get him. As stupid as that sounds, I know that he'll just be on my mind. I'll just want to get him, so... this is still my hobby, even though it can be very frustrating to play, but I do want to get that card, so there you guys can see. We won't review the squad here, we'll come into it later. We did get Koundé from the player pick. You're crazy if you don't do that player pick. 85, you're almost guaranteed to get a team of the season. I know a lot of people will probably be yelling at me, why didn't you take Carrasco? The reality is, guys, I play a narrow formation. I'm never going to use Carrasco, but Koundé might actually make the team. So I just decided to try him out on whatever 7 or 8 chem or whatever he is here. So for the most part, it doesn't really make too much of a difference, but I do like having all my players on 10 chem just from an OCD standpoint. But for this, we thought, you know, this is a video. This is a game that I'm going to play just for the sake of this video. So let's just get him into the team. You guys are going to see one game. It's a division rivals game. I did want to go in and try to do the one of the friendlies objectives, even though I don't like beating up on some noob in friendlies. There's so many of these objectives that force you into friendlies, but I couldn't get a matchup. It just wasn't matching me up. It's Monday the 11th? Is it the 10th or the 11th? Sorry. It is the 10th. Monday, May 10th. And I could not get a matchup. So I don't know what's been going on, because I'm like in very close to one of the major servers, and for some reason I just can't get a matchup. So I have a hard time believing there's nobody playing friendlies at all during this time of day, but you go into division rivals, I can match up almost right away. So we come up against this monster. One of the things that, before we get into my weekend league results, one of the things that I would love your feedback on is what you guys would like to see in terms of content going forward. So I don't really want to play division rivals. I've been playing a lot of co-op with my friend Nima. Love co-op. It's a lot of fun. Rivals co-op is really the only enjoyable part for me with FIFA. I don't like playing single division rivals because I'm in Division 2 now. And it's just playing yourself. It's playing a mirror of yourself, and you just get like draws and sweaty games, and it's just not enjoyable. It's not fun. And FIFA in general, I've said this for years, and I sound like a bit of a broken record here, but it's just my biggest issue with the game is there's just nothing to do with it. It's become a card collecting game, and I don't want to play rivals because I don't like playing mirrors of myself. You know, I play sweaty when I have to play sweaty, but I don't want to have to do that. I don't want to have to grind out games. I want to be able to just go enjoy, play a variety of guys, play some good players, play some bad players. I wish classic match, like just friendlies classic match, was a little bit more rewarding, or there's just more people playing it, because it would just be fun. But now, even with friendlies, because so many of the objectives are friendlies based, people just get mad at you if you don't quit after one goal. Like, they'll quit and then they'll try to send you hate. I had to turn off my messages because you just get so much hate. Why didn't you quit? You're toxic and blah 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 blah. And it's just like, you know, what do you even do with these teams? Like, what do you do with them? They're like, it's just a card collecting game, right? And Weekend League was one of the most unenjoyable experiences I've ever had. So, like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with it. But it's just not a whole lot of fun to play. So I'm trying to figure out what to do. Maybe the icon swaps just came out. Like, Puskas is one of the icon swaps. And as I kind of, alluded to a little bit before there, Puskas is one of the most enjoyable cards that I've used all year. He was amazing, that Prime Puskas card. I really loved him, even though he's like 4-star, 3-star, or 3-star, 4-star. I can't remember the difference. I think it's 3-star weak foot. You won't even know. Like, weak foot is not really that prevalent this year. He was so good. I used him in the first 2/3 of my weekend league, and he was the star of it. I just would really like to get that card back, and knowing the exact same card is available, I'm glad I sold him when I did, because he's actually dropped about 300k now that he's in icon swaps. Maybe going out and grinding the icon swaps to get him would be good content, but I would love to hear from you guys what you guys would like to see. So when it comes to the game, this weekend league was the first time that I went and played really competitively, like just sweated it out. I've been trying to play casually with division rivals, but again, there's nothing casual about division rivals except when I'm playing with my friend. But the weekend league, I just decided, you know what, maybe we'll just give ourselves a test. Weekend league is just such an unenjoyable, unrewarding experience. I'm hoping I'll show you guys the rewards that we get on Thursday. I'll make another video. I don't expect anything, which is really unfortunate because, like, as you guys saw probably last year with some of my weekend league results towards the end of the year, I never even end up packing. I think I got one major league card, which was Adama Traore, and we ended up using him in an SBC. So my expectation from rewards is actually so low that I would be surprised if I even got anything of significance. So it's unfortunate because you're playing for what I don't know. It's just going through the motions and hoping that you miraculously hit a Messi. But let's be real, I probably won't. If I can get anything that's even usable, it will be fantastic. But for the most part, Weekend League has just not been rewarding in that sense. It's not fun to play. We ended up finishing at 14 and 12. Realistically, I'm very honest with this, I was probably about a 14 and 8, 14 and 9, but I just got moraled so badly with my team. Like, the first game that I won, literally the first game of Weekend League, I won 11-0. And the guy was obviously not a great player, but he was just pulling players out of position. The second game that I played, I lost 5-0. And the guy wasn't even a great player. Like, he was fine, but what he did was he just tactic abused. And it's one of my issues with this game in general. It's the same thing that has been an issue for me for years and years and years. It's the same stuff, right? It's the dynamic difficulty that makes this game unenjoyable, because it's not even a matter of who's a better FIFA player. It's who's a better FIFA player, which really means who understands how to break the game mechanics better by going in and playing tactics, right? Like the game that you guys are watching right now, I don't think the guy really was a tactic abuser. I think he was just a decent FIFA player, and we just matched up because our elos were basically the same. But the guy that I lost to 5-0, you could tell that he was just a tactic abuser. He ended up going up about 2-0. I paused it to make some changes, and I decided to go 4-2-4, and I believe he just mirrored it. Because every time, let's say this is my defense, he had his 4 strikers like this, my 2 midfielders like this, and then my 4 defenders, he had his 4 strikers. And it was at a point where when he was coming out of his back line, his players would be able to one-touch pass it out, whereas when I was doing the exact same thing, his players would make a lunging block, and then my player would fall over, and then he would counterattack. So he scored about 3 or 4 counterattack goals, and it caused the game to just break. Like, I'm sure I could have tried playing a different custom tactic, but at that point in the game, it wasn't even worth sitting there trying to figure out what to do. Like, I wasn't that concerned. I was ready to take the L. But the point I'm making is that game, that individual matchup, the guy was an okay player, but he just understood how to break the game mechanic. And I'm not mad at him for doing it. It's just, that's a matter of don't hate the player, hate the game. The game is just broken so much in that sense that I couldn't even have told you if he was actually any good. He just understood how to break the game mechanics to the point that his players were, when the ball would come out, his players would do these scooping one-touch passes to just pass it out of his own end and get the ball up to his strikers. When I was trying to do the same thing, like cut in and make a quick pass or just one-touch pass, my players would try to do that hook, but his players would stick out a foot. My guy would ragdoll, or he would fall over, or he'd get bumped into a disadvantageous position, and he would come away and counterattack me and hit me on counters. So again, it's just tactic abuse, right? So the game is riddled with so much of it, and there's so many things, like in terms of watching YouTube and watching streams and going on Reddit and understanding like just how to break the game. Like, it's not bitterness on my part to like want to be, I don't care about being a top 100 player. I really don't. I just want to enjoy playing something that I've put time and effort and in some cases money into, right? Like, you just want to have fun, and there's no fun modes anymore, right? Like, again, even playing friendlies, people are just getting mad at you if you don't quit out, because all they want us to do is to get a card that they're just going to, use in Weekend League or use in game modes that they don't even enjoy. Like, I don't really know what you do with them. Like, it's become a card collecting game. And my Weekend League experience was just that. Like, it got to the point where I was losing the odd game, because once you get into games 10, 11, 12, like, it becomes just monster teams, just sweat monsters. Like, demon time is what they call it now. So demon time is when you're just getting literally tryhards with tryhard teams, and you could even put me in that category. But every single game is going to extra time, and it's just 3-2 and 4-3, and You just have to hope that you come out on the on the right end of that. So, Demon Time is just not a very enjoyable experience, and every single game has become that after your games 5 and 6. It's just, that you're just in for a long haul. It feels like work. And I was talking to my friend Nima about this the other day. He decided to play his first weekend league too, so we were kind of staying in touch with each other to see how we were doing. And it was just that. It felt like my whole weekend was consumed by it. And I look exhausted today. I feel exhausted because it felt like a job that you just had to get done before Monday came around. It felt like you had a work project that you had to do, and you have to get this done, because if you don't, you don't get automatic entry into the weekend league or whatever, or you don't get rewards. You only get 1 player pick instead of 2 player picks, and it felt like a chore. It felt like a job. It felt like a necessity, and that's not what this game should be about. Like, the amount of people, I watch a lot of streams, and the amount of people that I see going through mental fatigue and rage and just like exhaustion, like, I'm like, this is a video game, right? And I'm feeling that way. And I know better, right? Like, I should know better. I know not to do this. It affects my mood, right? And it's just like, even though I'm aware of it, I'm 37 years old. At the same time, I don't have these quick trigger fingers like these kids. But I'm seeing guys that are just, like, playing this, and they are getting so frustrated that I'm just thinking, who enjoys this? And I'm also thinking, how the hell does anyone go 30-0? How do you go 30-0? How do you do that? Like, I'm amazed at guys going 30-0. Like, you can understand the game mechanics, but with the dynamic difficulty in this game, I don't know how anyone does it. Like, I'm in shock, honestly. Like, I'm in shock that people can finish elite or finish on 30 or even 25 wins or something like that, because this game feels like it is just riddled with dynamic difficulty to the point that you can't do anything about it. And the games that I've lost, I was saying that realistically I probably should have finished about 14-8, maybe 14-9, but I ended up finishing at 14-12, because especially once I was getting to games 10 and 11, I think it was Saturday night or Sunday morning, I went through about a 4-game losing streak where I had lost to a legit player, and then my team just fell to the floor. And it wasn't, you're playing on tilt and playing mad and all this dumb garbage that people use as excuses. People might think that I'm making excuses, but there's morale in the game, right? Like, I sound like a broken record, but it is. It's in the game, guys. It has been in for years. It's riddling. It's riddled this game with just absolute cancer, to the point that you can't even play it, right? When your team is playing that bad, my Aguero, who's one of those cards that seems to get really badly affected by it, your strikers, like, my Torres was a little bit, but my Aguero was really bad. So the ball's here, and when the ball's about to go out of bounds and your player does that kind of drunken, like, wide run, they don't run in a straight line. They run in a wide line. Or your players will just back off and open up passing lanes. Like, what I was noticing was my team of the season defenders were just splitting like the Red Sea. When my team was getting morale, they were just parting, and it was just opening up lanes for guys to dump through balls through. And I was just getting hit on major counterattacks, like, all weekend long, especially in the later stages. I looked at my tactics this morning, and I was just like, you know what, I got to change some of this stuff. And as much as I hate to do this, I had to drop my depth, and I had to play drop back. Like, I was playing, like, pressure after possession loss. And unfortunately, it's just, you have to play drop back. Like, you do. You have to change it, right? Because even in this game, I was playing pressure after possession loss because I didn't want to be one of those drop back rats. But unfortunately, every guy that I'm coming up against is playing like a one depth D, right? Like, they're playing super narrow. And when I'm at the top, like, look at this guy's defense, right? They all cluster together and they fill up the top of the box. Like, nobody's wide at all. It's like playing old NHL games, like when, like, PS3 and PS4 first came around. The defense would just basically do this, and it would just close up and create a shell around the 18-yard box, and it becomes impossible to break through. And that's what FIFA has become, right? Guys just play narrow, one depth drop back, and you can't break through it. And then they get the ball and they hit these miraculous through balls like those that just go flying into space. And if you're not playing drop back, your team's playing way too high. Like, look at this. It's just the same thing, right? And even though that didn't equate to a goal, I'm having to manually pull my players back because they're coming and being too aggressive. So everyone ends up playing the same way. It ends up being just a rat fest, and it's unfortunate because you either do that or you can't compete in FIFA. So that was my weekend league experience. I won't be playing weekend league the rest of the year. I just wanted to do it, see what it was like, see if anything's changed. Unfortunately, it hasn't. If anything, it's probably gotten worse. And I'm not one of these guys that likes to dump on EA, but this is just more of the same. I'm really hoping that PS5, they dedicate some time to rebuilding this game, because this has gotten to the point where it's just the same game every year, and it's the same tactics. And I'm not expecting a miracle for next year. But at the same time, I'm hoping PS5 can kind of rejuvenate the game to a certain degree, but I won't hold my breath on it from what I've seen, even for this year. I know it was more of a port this year than anything else, but if they don't completely overhaul the game engine, we're in for a really, really long game cycle again next year, because it's just the same thing. It's handicap and morale and dynamic difficulty, and it just riddles the game with cancer. It's just awful to play, and it's unenjoyable. The content, phenomenal. Like, I mean, it's so much fun to collect the cards and the stuff that they come out with. They've done stuff every day that builds your team up and has some really cool dynamic cards that come out. But other than that, like, it's just, what do you do with them, right? Like, it's just a card collecting game, because the gameplay is the most unenjoyable part of it. But anyway, I don't want to sound too negative. That was just my weekend league experience. We will show our rewards. Hopefully I can get a little lucky. I mean, I can't complain, actually. My luck has been really good. I've packed very little this whole year. And then when I was with my parents, I think in 3 days in a row, I went on the web app and ended up packing Mbappe, Kante, and somebody else, which I can't remember. But they're all untradeable. They're still in my club. There's that Kante. He's actually in the squad still. He hasn't really aged that well, but he's just defensively so good. But as you guys are seeing here, these are the players. I don't have a whole lot of liquid coins. Most of it went into Messi. I was able to get Jordi Alba. And then after I packed that tradable Suarez, I went into the player picks, those La Liga player picks, which are OP. I didn't pack. I was just like, I'm just going to do these until I get a team of the season. We ended up getting team of the season untradeable Frankie de Jong. So I was over the moon with that. He's such a phenomenal card. And then we used just whatever coins we had left to get Fernando Torres just from a linking purpose. So my team's pretty much endgame. It's just going to be small tinkering additions. Maybe we'll make some changes. I know there's a ton of more content that will come out throughout the rest of the year. I do want to get this upgrade to the Fernando Torres, because he's a throwback to some of the better FIFA days, in my opinion. But that is where we are at. Maybe we'll do the icon swaps, guys. But I would love to hear from you. Hear what's going on in your lives. Hear what you guys think of my team, and any questions you might have. And hopefully I'll be able to get back for a new episode in the next coming days. So I appreciate you guys all coming back to check out the channel, and I hope to hear from you guys and see you guys very shortly. Okay? Take care. Peace.